but you just hold your hand in the picture.
We want to.
Hey, Hillary.
So what I'm gonna do, so, and your first one question, then the next question, which will go first, and then I for you to sit for some questions. Just sitting. If we can stand up and answer, yep. Perfect. That's okay. Or if
I am ready.
what you do, gentlemen, is you're gonna, well, actually, we'll wait, because I'm gonna start so you're gonna walk down.
Test.
You can make them louder. Yeah, so what you're gonna do.
Wait, it's on now. Justin. I got my hair cut. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, well, shut your microphone. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I gave Justin the loudest one if you want. All right, welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Ann. I am one of the admins for the Real Right Side of New Jersey. So if you're not a
warriors, grit and grind, build back what we had, ain't no we find. Make America great again, fist to the sky, we start a family, we gon' rise high. Street feelings don't need no disguise, we live it loud, we ride or die. Generation fighters, take the stand, from shore to shore we reclaim the land. Grit and glory in every strand in Jersey.
It's great to be on with you. This is a great podcast. It's a lot of fun and it's informative and it's real information. It's none of the frills and none of the nonsense that you hear on the legacy media. Just telling the story of what's happening right now. It's what I do with my newsletter that I get out to anybody who wants to see it. It's what you're doing with this podcast. America needs to know what the real deal is, and you're the real deal.
I am running against 3 Democrats right now. I do not have anyone in the primary as a Republican challenging me. So if you would like to donate to my campaign after this, please come and see me. Or you can find me at herzigforcongress.com, and that's FOR. And you can find all my policy stances and information there. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Hillary Herzig. I'm a wife. I'm a mother of 3 children, and I grew up right here in Monmouth County. I actually have a family that lived in the Long Branch, right in the city that we're in, since the 1930s. I come from a career of civil service. I've served at the Veterans Administration, the United States Department of Agriculture. I've served at the Animal Plant Health Inspection Service. I've served at the Department of Homeland Security, United States Citizenship and Immigration Services in both asylum and personnel security, as well as I've served for the Department of Army as a civil servant in the National Ground Intelligence Center. I've seen public policy from a different perspective and how it's applied, and now I want to help create laws that are very pro public safety and national security. So with that said, I would like to speak a little bit specifically about Long Branch. This community isn't just where I live, it's part of who I am. And that's why I'm going to speak up about something today that should never be controversial. Protecting our beaches and supporting people who keep them safe. Right now, Long Branch is struggling to recruit lifeguards. And it's not because we don't have strong, young, capable people, but it's because there's an ongoing dispute on whether those lifeguards are being treated fairly, including whether they're entitled to benefits under New Jersey law. And when other towns are clearly paying and have protections for those lifeguards, where do they go? They leave our community and they go somewhere else. Now let's talk about the leadership in Long Branch really quick. This city is led by Mayor John Pallone. Our district in Congress is represented by his brother, Frank Pallone Jr. And that is decades of political influence tied to the same leadership. So the question is simple. With all that experience and all that power, why are we still getting the basics wrong? This isn't just about politics, it's about results. Jobs leave and communities fall behind. If leadership is spending more time arguing over whether to support workers than actually supporting them, people are going to continue to leave Long Branch. Long Branch and District 6 deserves leadership that puts workers first, keeps jobs here, and makes sure that public safety is actually a priority. Because if we can't get something as basic as lifeguards right in a beach town, then it's time for new leadership, and I'm ready to deliver that for District 6. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hillary. That was amazing. So I have up next Greg Mealy with CD12. Greg, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey folks, how are you? You ready to rumble this year? All right. We've been waiting a long time, and it's time. This is the time. Thank you, Hillary. You're the best CD6 candidate I've ever seen. Now, I mean, look, I don't go back 50 years, but I go back a ways.
Thank you, Greg.
And,
It's a pleasure to run with you.
Yes, the coalition we have, it's a good part of my motivation to continue going. And of course, I tell everybody here who's local in Hillary's district, I endorse her and vouch for her 100%. Definitely come out for her. For me, I'm in CD12. We have a unique situation. Bonnie Watson Coleman is retiring. Hopefully, hopefully she doesn't decide to leave early and put me through a special election like 11 and spend more money on nonsense. But I think she's got the ego to stay. So, she thinks she's actually accomplished things. We all know that anything economic that's bad is only when the Democrats are in charge. Crime is rampant, especially in that district. Trenton is in there. Some of the Brunswicks are in there. And also, the Princeton elites are in there. So in that district. So it's a mess that needs cleaning up. And that's what I'm looking to do. So I'm going to be all over the place. It's wonderful today. I have actually, having been statewide before in races, I see a lot of friends I don't get to see very often from various parts of the state. Makes me feel at home. And so, this is what I take from my energy to try to go ahead and win that seat too, so that we can get some change, positive change and corrections to how we run this state. It's been a disaster for a while. We got to get control back and really start, putting them on their heels, and at the same time, showing the people what the truth is. There's so many lies and omissions. So let's get rid of that, get rid of them, and let's win across the board. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Greg. All right. And last up is Damon Galdo. He's with CD1 and he is going up against Norcross. So, Damon, welcome in.
Hello, everyone. My name is Damon Galdo, running for Congress in CD1 against Norcross, as she already said. And flustered. I'm a producer and live streamer right now, and also a candidate. My producer couldn't make it. So, but no, the reason why I actually started this, I'll get into Congress in a second, but why I started this podcast and this America's Pulse Network is because when I ran the first time, it was on a whim. I ran because I wanted a better future for my children, not just my children, everyone else's. I wanted a better future for New Jersey. I'm a builder. I'm in the Carpenters Union. I build commercial buildings, and I love what I do for a living. But I love my children and the future for everyone else's children even more. So my favorite quote is by Edmund Burke, that the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. So that's why I stepped up to run the first time. Now, this time, I started this network because I figured that media could be more powerful than politicians sometimes. Because where does everyone get their information? They go home, they watch the news, they watch CNN, they watch CSN, MSNBC, or even Fox or Newsmax, whatever it may be. But they're not journalists anymore. They're commentators. At least Fox admits it, that they're commentators. But the thing is, I started it because people, it's all about getting the information out there. A lot of people are so misinformed. They really are. I mean, everyone asks me all the time, how do Democrats keep winning? How do they keep winning? I mean, I see all the posts online, the hating Norcross and everyone against them, or even my friend Jack over there, he ran against Lou Greenwald. I never met somebody that liked the guy. So, but I don't understand. Yeah, so, but how do they win? People are not informed enough. They watch what they see on TV. That's why I think this network is so important. That's why Jack and Constance just started their new podcast on their network as well. And it's informing people, and that's what they do. They go to Trenton and they let everyone know what's going on and what bills are passed, what's good and what's bad. And that's the thing. It's getting out the truth. It's Steve DiOrio, this show, my good friend there. Like, he gets the news out there. But I gave a speech at Rowan the other night, and I told all the kids, I said, well, I got their attention by saying, I said, you're not the future. And I said, you're the present. I said, we need you now. So that's what caught their attention when I started it. But no, that's what it is. And I told them information is key. I said, I'm speaking at a college right now. I said, that's the whole thing. You need to educate people. Because if you don't educate people and get out there and actually have the conversation, I know it's hard to have the conversation with the left. They just shut down immediately. Trust me, I know. I did plenty of interviews, and they just shut down since I asked them the second question. But that's the thing. I mean, getting information out and letting people know what's going on, what each legislation that's passed in New Jersey. I mean, being a sanctuary state, like, no one knows that we pay $7.3 billion a year in state taxes to be a sanctuary state for illegal immigrants. No one knows that. But your property taxes go up. Mine are going up. So if you were to give that money back to the people, you would save over 2,000 a year on everyone's property taxes. I mean, it's simple things like that. That's what people need to hear. People need to hear the truth. And that's what my speech is about tonight, is not just about my campaign. You go to my website and see what I'm about. I'm just a regular guy that's trying to do something good. And it's an honor to be here, these state Senate candidates for this town hall. So I want to thank you, Ann, for inviting me. I really appreciate it. And again, it's all about educating people, and we have to try. We have to keep getting the message out there over and over and over again, or nothing will ever change. And I'm going to fight like heck. So trust me, I'm going up against the juggernaut in Norcross. So he raised like $3 million. I raised like $3, but but no. But yeah, no, I got a fighting chance. Anyone that tries has a fighting chance. So that's where we're at right now. But thank you all for coming. Appreciate it. And I'll turn it over back in.
It's literally David versus Goliath on that one, but it's Damon versus Goliath. So we're going to get started on our town hall candidates. Thank you so much for being here. Audience, thank you so much. And just real quick, I'm going to go through the candidates. Were not given any, they had rules before, before the event, which they all agreed to. They were not given any of the questions that they're being asked today. Each candidate has the same amount of time to answer this. Each candidate will answer the same question with the same amount of time, and the responses will be timed and moderated, and there's no interruptions during another candidate's response. Are you guys ready to get started? Yes.
Can I make one suggestion?
Yes.
That we all say the Pledge of Allegiance before we start.
Absolutely. Let's.
I like her.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you for that. So our question we have first up is from Angela Di Tommaso. She is actually one of the other admins from the right side, the real right side of New Jersey. So let's give it up for Angela to kicking it off.
Because we are kicking it off and because we're going to get to the issues that
I apologize. I did promise the candidates a 2-minute opening statement. Sorry. Candidates, you may go. We're going to go start with Dr. Bob. Yes, I'm so sorry. I did promise a 2-minute opening statement. So go ahead, Doctor.
I want to start by saying thank you for having me and to everybody being here. I want to acknowledge Mr. Tabor, Mr. Murphy, and the other candidate who's not here. This is a great time to be in this race. Why? Because we're really at the bottom. Let's face it, we haven't had a Republican senator since 1972? Half of you weren't even born yet. I was. Uh, we have only to go up. We need a vision. We need to fight. And this isn't really about the three of us here. I'm going to tell you, they're all good guys. Who and how are we going to beat Cory Booker come November? The last time I looked, do you know what he has in his bank account? $22 million. How much? $22 million. Last night was 21. Now it's up to $22 million. All right. How do we do that? Sure, messaging. Everyone has their financial planning. I have mine for the campaign. Hopefully it'll come to be. But at the end of the day, this is about getting you invested. I want to see that you feel like you're part of this, that you have a stake in it in every which way, for your family, for your children, and in my case, not only my children, but my grandchildren. That's why I'm here. I love this country. I love this state. I've raised 3 children here. I have grandchildren. I'm at the stage of my life I can give back, and I am giving back. America's a wonderful country. My parents came here as lawful and legal immigrants. I'm living the American dream. That dream has to be passed on. With all of your help, we're going to make it happen. And I look forward to talking about issues in specific and mechanism, ultimately, how do we put Cory Booker into a long-term retirement?
Can I add something to what you said, sir? My name's Sue Bucko. I'm the Republican chairwoman on the Middlesex County Republican Women's Club, second vice president. I ran for New Jersey State Assembly 2 times. My experience as far as Cory Booker, he's pro-illegal immigration. He's in cahoots with Menendez. As we know, either Menendez is in prison or heading to prison. So the $22 million in his bank account is very questionable how he has that level of money, what kind of deals he's cutting in our state, and who he's selling out the American people to enrich himself. I have friends that lived in Newark before, and they are Democrats, and I in the beginning when Cory Booker way back first announced who he was and so forth, I said, oh, he seems like a nice young man. He presents himself nicely, dressed nicely. I said to my friend Anna, so would you support him? She said, Sue, he's a bum. She was a social worker. She's a Black woman. She said, Sue, he cut funding for the programs for the children in the summer, canceled the swimming pools and the parks and recreation. The children that are growing up in communities with no backyards, no, their families aren't rich, they can't sign them up for sports teams and so forth. But the stuff he's doing to make his money, that should be invested.
I'm going to take her on the campaign trail with me, that's for sure.
Thank you, Sue. All right, next up we have Rich Tabor.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me today. I really appreciate everybody that came out. Thank you so much for coming, taking the time out. You know, I'd like to thank the candidates that showed up, Doc, Murph. Appreciate y'all. We missing one. Not gonna say anything. I guess they doing their own thing. But listen, guys, it's very important this year that we get involved. Okay? It's very important that Republicans get involved. We need every last one of you. This year, this fight is gonna have to be different because we gotta take the fight to them. We cannot keep sitting back and just going with Republicans. That's not gonna work. That plan is dead. It's been dead for 40 years. It's time for a new one. So now we gotta come on the offensive. We gotta go to the communities we normally do not visit, the urban community. We gotta go in there and deliver the conservative message. Everything that we stand for, they are against. Everything that these communities stand for, they are against. It's just that they hide their messaging. They blow you up with affordability, and nothing is ever affordable. They blow you up with parental rights, but take all the parents away. This is what they do. So it's important that we understand that they get our message. I really need you guys to think about it. Abortion is now at 40 weeks in New Jersey. 40 weeks. You can get an abortion in New Jersey. That is murder. That is murder. Gender affirming care, which is gender mutilation, cutting off kids' genitals. Republicans, I need you to really listen to what's going on. It's demonic. It's a spiritual battle we're facing that we all need to get involved in. Because if we don't, we're not only going to lose whatever we got right now, we're going to lose our entire nation. It's a soft war going on right now in America, where we have let people with failed ideologies from other countries come into our country and push their agenda, not ours, in our country. And instead of protecting ourselves, we let them do whatever they want. We're letting people from outside this country make the rules for our country. America, what happened? When did we stop fighting? When did we stop standing up for ourselves? I tell you what, right now, when you push me to run, when you push me to be that candidate, that fight will never end. I will make sure I keep fighting until the end, because that's what the military has taught me to do. That's what it has raised me to do. It taught me you fight until the end. You never quit, you never retreat, and you never surrender. And this is our country, ours. This is not anybody else's. This is our country. So do not let people come into our country and think they're going to make the decisions for us. We make the decisions. You don't make decisions for us. We make the decisions. Because there's no other country in the world that you can go to. Name me one where you can make the decisions in somebody else's country. It's not going to happen. So wait, America, it's time that we start waking up, New Jersey. We got to wake up. We got to. Because if we don't, we're going to lose everything. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. And last but not least, Justin Murphy.
Hello, everyone. Just a couple housekeeping matters. Yes, I got my hair cut, and I have to say that because if you saw me before this, you would laugh. How's everyone? Thank you very much for coming out, and for the candidates here, we get a chance to engage with the public, and to whoever's our viewing audiences on the live stream, and thank you, Damon, for taking all the time and expertise to put that together for us. Yes, thank you. I look forward to your questions today because I do believe the only way you'll be able to gauge if a candidate is quick on their feet, has a grasp of the issues, and can handle pressure is through a town hall format like this, where we're not presenting questions in advance. So I look forward to engaging with you today and for the rest of the campaign. Now, we're in the month of May, and basically as candidates, we're going to start making our closing arguments soon. June 2nd is right around the corner, and early voting starts last week of May. So many of you I've spoken before. I've had the privilege and honor to do that. If you don't know me, my name is Justin Murphy. I've lived in Burlington County. I've been one, if I'm not here, if that's for me, Damon. Voters to step into our column. Conservative side, where I've outlined my political DNA and all the positions that I plan to go to Washington and fight like living hell for. Because I agree, this country is worth fighting for. I believe personally the most blessed gift that God gave this world is America, and our job is to fight second and save it. So I look forward to your questions. Just quick on me, I was raised by a single mother. I served in the U.S. Navy. I have a college degree, a law degree. I complain when I say that, not brag. And I have to share with you, when I graduated law school in May of 2000, I had to sit through a commencement address given by then Senator Joe Biden. So please a little sympathy for me. Thank you much. I look forward to your questions, folks. God bless.
Thank you so much, Justin. Okay, so I am going to start the timer on this because candidates will have about 90 seconds to answer these questions. And Miss Angela DiTomaso, you are now up. Thank you for patiently waiting.
For real this time. We're kicking off Q&A, and because I'm kicking it off, I wanted to ask, and I was going to ask all three, but you already answered this question. I'm curious because we are all at the bottom of an election that's going to be a hard climb up. What motivated you, Rich and Justin, to get into this race? What is your passion and your impetus? Who you're doing it for? How did your rationale come up? And then because I'm very curious, I have a second question. I can do that later. Let's address that.
Right.
Yep.
So what got me into running for U.S. Senate is I sat there and I watched our country falling apart. And to get older, we have a huge debt of $38 trillion. We have open borders, and I understand we million different people that we have no idea who they are in this country. I see that our Congress and our Senate can't make the right decisions anymore. I see that our Supreme Court justices don't know what a woman is. I see that all of these things are happening in our country, and it's allowing our country to fall apart. So when I saw the opportunity to say, I can serve my country again, I said it would be an honor for me to do that. We need people in this office that can make the right decisions to move our country forward. We do not need people in office that are only making decisions solely based on themselves, only to move themselves forward, not to
20
move the
seconds.
people forward. So why I take this job? Because it's a public service position. Why this is why I want it, because it's a public service position. And my whole life, since the age of 18, has been about public service. So once again, I wanted to raise my hand and say, it's time to serve again. Why? Because once again, I'm going to mention the military. They said we have to fight enemies, foreign and domestic. And right now, we have a lot of domestic enemies in our country.
Thank you. Dr. Bob, starting the timer.
Okay. I'm living the American dream. I'm blessed, no question. I have a wonderful wife. She reminds me I have an anniversary tomorrow. So I have children, I have grandchildren. I see this every day. I grew up in the Bronx. People come to the office now with the hack and sack system, bureaucracy to call, get them, do this, do that. The first thing they ask you is not what's your name, what's your insurance. You ever call and go through like 5 minutes of voice menu help? And then you get a message, hi, this is Mary Jane. I'm away from my desk or on the phone. Please leave a message and maybe I'll call you back next week. What do you do when you're sick, when you're hurting? What do you do if you have little children who are crying and have a fever and it's Friday afternoon and your husband's will be home late from work because the job is busy? If you're older and you've worked your life, Social Security is scheduled openly to go insolvent in about 6 years. What happened to stable finances? What happened to safe streets? I agree with Mr. Tabor. We have to fight enemies both foreign and domestic. If people come in, that was it, 10 million, 15, 20, we don't even know how many people came in during that time frame. But we do know they get iPads and iPhones and cell service. They get healthcare more than some Americans. And I'm all for compassion. Charity begins at home. That's almost a biblical tenet. I love this place. We have to fix our home first before we fix everything in the world. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And Justin.
Thank you for the question, Ange. I think for me, it gets down to a two-word answer as to why I run. What compels me to run is I care. I care about the and I believe God gave me this God adult life. That's right, as He guides me with active contribution to keeping this country on the right track and keeping it safe. If you believe that the 70,000-page IRS tax code is burdensome to your life or business, I'm your candidate. And I drive for that. That drives me because I want Americans to have more than anything economic security, economic freedom, and economic opportunity. Without that, we're not really America, are we? So I'm driven by this passion for this country. I'm hopelessly in love with it and its people. I think God is the most sacred blessing He gave this world is this country. And we enjoy so much that the 8 billion people on this planet, most of them do not. So what drives me is really the care and love for the country. And that it bothers me when there are communities that are disaffected and don't have the shot at the American dream. That has to change. We are the most successful country known to human civilization economically, politically, socially, culturally, technologically. We shouldn't have a Brownsfield in an inner city. We shouldn't have a family that goes without and is deprived. So what I want to do is make sure that as we move through a new era, okay, and the information age and AI, that we do not become disconnected from our roots as Americans and who we are and what we are, why we were founded, and why I believe God put us here. So I run because I care, and I want people to enjoy the American dream, and I want them to have economic opportunity, freedom, privacy, and all the things that we cherish to make our lives quality and really worth living. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Constance Ditzoff. She's a former assembly candidate for LD5, Moms for Liberty official chapter chairperson for Camden County, and the co-host of the New Jersey State House Watch podcast. So, Kansas, let's give it up for Kansas. So, it's Constance.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Everybody gets that wrong for some reason. So, in New Jersey, they have been chipping away at parental rights. Now, I know you're not going to Trenton, but in Trenton, they've reduced the age for parental consent for behavioral health from 16 to 14. They have got secret transitioning going on at school from gender, and you don't know about it. They've got a suicide hotline where they don't call you back if a minor calls and is in crisis. They don't call you back. Now, I know you're not going to Trenton, but you are going to the Senate. Now, there was a Families Rights and Responsibilities Act that was introduced by Tim Scott in 23. It's been brought up again in 25. And this bill seeks to protect parents' fundamental rights to direct the upbringing, education, and health care of their children. Now, I believe all of you would probably commit to pushing this act forward, but the bigger trick is, do you have any thoughts on how you can persuade those in the swamp to comply? Because they tried this in 2023. How do we get people on board, get it out of committee, and get it voted on? And I don't see it necessarily as bills. We're not looking for legislation. We just want things to be vetoed that prevent us from, as parents. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to start with Dr. Bob.
Well, thank you very much. That's a great question. The bottom line is there's no more fundamental connection in this world between a mother and a child. You don't mess with mama bear, so to say. And this includes everything from education, their physical safety, their moral grounding, their education. I'm actually for things like empowering parents educationally. Let the dollars go to them. I call it educational equality. That's my term. Parents have to know what's going on with their kids. It's amazing, you know. They're all adults, right? When you're 12 years old, you can have your genitals cut off, and we can't even tell the parents. But you're applying to college. Oh, he's an adult. He's connected to you financially on the FAFSA form. I would eliminate that, by the way. You know, either you're an adult or you're not. Either you're old enough to vote or not. If you're in the military, you're either old enough to die for your country or not. Okay, but if you are, grow up and don't have Washington constantly be in your pocket. This transgender thing, and my colleague here alluded to it, I'm going to stop it. I understand the medical part of it. And yes, I can tell you what a man is. I can tell you what a woman is. And anyone who can't should not be in Congress, should not be in the Senate, and definitely should be out of the court system.
All right. We have Justin here.
If parental rights are your issue, I am your candidate. Parental rights are so important that I included it in my Senate pledge, which I hope you get a chance to read. I have some copies here, just so you know, you can hold my feet to the fire. I will be the same candidate in November I hold out I am in June. I know sometimes we get conservatives in June and we never see them again come November. Parental rights are the civil rights issue of our time. I've said it 100 times on the campaign trail. They are the civil rights issue of our time, along with medical freedom. Parental rights should codify to the extent that they are, and strangely enough, Connie, they already are. But I'm for more codification if we need. Parents need tools to fight back against an abusive DOJ that called them terrorists. The Joe Biden administration, we know what they were doing to parental rights and the disruption to school boards, which I know you know, being involved with Moms for Liberty. But parental rights are cornerstone and bedrock because the family unit is that unit. It's the building block of society. It's how we transmit cultural mores to young people. This is why the left and Marxism attacks the family unit because they don't want the family unit doing it. They want to do it. They want school boards to do it. But we just had a Supreme Court case that reaffirmed 100 years of Supreme Court jurisprudence recognizing that fundamental rights include parental rights. And that was Banta out of California. And the line, bureaucrats don't raise children, parents do. School boards do not raise children, parents do. There is no co-parenting arrangement between parents and government, period. There are parents and the family unit, end of story. Whatever tools they
10 more
need,
seconds.
whatever tools parents need, they need to be given legally. We just have to, first of all, how do we get them? Make sure they all understand that we have a century of Supreme Court jurisprudence. We have existing codification for parental rights, and elect people who think like me and other Republicans that put parental rights and acknowledge them as the civil rights issues of our time. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. All right, next up, Mr. Rich.
So, when it comes to parental rights, the reason I'm your candidate is I have 7 children. So, if you're looking for somebody that's trying to protect the children, it's definitely going to be me. 4 boys, 3 girls. But now, it's interesting. You said, how will we get it done? Because we're going to be in D.C. and we're not going to Trenton. So one thing I was taught when I was younger is if you want to get something done, you follow the money, see where the money's going. And that's how you can figure out how to get something done. So what I would do, right, to force them to get this done is I would incentivize the federal funding that they're getting in New Jersey. I would say parental rights have to be included in that. I would say the property taxes have to be capped at a certain amount. I would say COLA needs to be brought back, right? And that's how I would do it is incentivize it. You before you get this 500 million, before you get this 700 million, here's what needs to be done. And then that's what's going to happen. New Jersey's going to say no. You know they're going to say no. Democrats want to fight no matter if it's good or bad. They're going to fight against us no matter what. And then that's when you create committees inside of New Jersey that receive those fundings, right? And then you can have federal oversight over those committees. Why? Because New Jersey doesn't want to allow oversight on the funding, on the federal funding being spent. They don't want to allow it. So what you do is you have to force their hand. You know they need the money. So you say, in order for you to get this money, here's what I need you to do. And if you don't do it, I'll create committees that will get it done for me because I'm going to make sure we got the road committees, parental right committees, all of these committees that the government can check over. Because right now, we can't check on anything in New Jersey. They're doing whatever they want. It's basically the wild, wild west. So it's time for us to make sure when we get to DC, we get this done. And that's how I would do it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Constance, for your question. Next up, we have Jack Brangan, Assembly candidate for LD5 and co-host with Constance of New Jersey State House Watch podcast. So let's give it up for Jack.
It's amazing how many people call her Candace, and that is not her name. By the way, I'm the other half of New Jersey State House Watch. We're on the second and the fourth Tuesday of every month at 7:30. That's all I have to say. My question is about student loans. I'm a little ticked off about student loans because in reality, they are not student loans anymore. They are student mortgages in many cases. Now, when I got out of high school, if you wanted a student loan, you went to the bank and the bank applied
banking underwriting rules, and they assessed what is the major you're taking, and they decided, how much they want to put at risk and what are your chances of paying that loan back. That's not the case anymore, and as a result, we have seen tuitions go up. When my kids were looking at colleges, they were around $35,000 a year, and every year they've gone up, and the student loans have matched. They've gone up again. The loans have matched. Now you're looking at $70,000 in a lot of these schools, and the government will lend that money. And I think they know these kids will never be able to pay this back because that's only 60,000 per year. You go across 4 years, the kid's done. And Joe Biden should be in jail. But the one thing that I sort of sympathize, and I think he did it all wrong, it was in the case of student loans. Something has to be done about this. My son went to Penn State. I paid out of state tuition. Penn State has a $2 billion endowment. When you get to the Ivy League schools, it's double, triple that. I would like to know how many loans are outstanding on Penn State and to what extent can they use that endowment money to pay off those loans. The taxpayer should not be involved. We were not part of that transaction. It should be between the kids and the university. And if the kids default, they default on the university, not the taxpayer. Something's got to be done because it's kicking the legs out. They can't get their life started. They can't get married. They got to pay $800, $1,000 a month before they even talk about a mortgage on a house. They're dead in the water. And this is how socialism, gets hold. You have hopeless kids, hopeless couples, never able to get a house, get married, have kids. Socialism starts to look really good to them. What can be done?
Okay, we are up with Justin. I believe you were first on this one.
Thank you for the question, Mr. Jack, and thank you for your time running for Assembly in 25, and hopefully we'll see you again and kind of again in 27, because that's where a lot of our problems will be solved in Trenton, not only in Washington, what we're trying to do. Okay, I think with student loans, I think the first thing we need to do and the most effective thing we can do as a party is be relatable to young students today. Now, I'm 60 years old. I'm not exactly young, but I do have $175,000 of student loan debt. So the first thing is I can connect and I can identify with them and we'll understand thoroughly what they're going through. I don't know if you guys have any student loan debt, but I got a lot of it. Now, I made choices. I wanted to go to college. I wanted to go to law school because I didn't want to miss out on that commencement speech by Joe Biden by any means. I'd pay anything for it. I studied for my master's at Villanova, and I have an LLM, a master's for my Juris Doctor from Oklahoma University. I love learning. I love education. I know the value of it, but I know the price of it also. So I think the first thing I can do is relate very well to students. Second thing I will tell them is what can be done is they need to be gainfully employed to pay it back. So we need policies where we're growing our economy at 3 to 4% a year, and we have a dynamic energy industry that's going to create trillions of dollars of wealth for our middle class and working poor. So we need a growing economy because the kids need to be gainfully employed. But I would also tell those students, guess what? You've got opportunity here with income-based driven plans, so you can get a pretty decent catch of air on what your income is commensurate to your debt level. Second thing is there are programs out there that allow you to do some public service to get rid of your student loan debt. But I would also tell our young people sternly, because we need to worry about the next generation of Americans, not the next election, and we need to send adults to Washington. I will tell them, if you took money out on a loan, you pay it back. You have to pay it back. I paid off my undergrad. I paid off some of my law loans. I still have a ways to go. But we have to tell young people that it's not free. And it's wrong for one political party to try to brutalize this issue and say, well, I'm going to take money from Steve because I don't think he's going to vote for me. And I'm going to give it to the kids out marching yesterday through all our communist
10 more seconds.
May Day to give them a free education. Look, it's not free. They're just cost shifting. So we want a dynamic growing economy, get them gainfully employed. The IBRs are very good. And those endowments are the key, because I would look at any institution and say, if you're sitting on billions of endowment money, you better start reducing your tuition rates. Serious. Thank you.
Thank you. Rich.
first and foremost, the way that they are making these kids pay for this right now, first thing I'll do is tell them to join the Army. GI Bill, take care of that. That's the first thing I'll do. I'll say, listen, this is too high. You need to just get the GI Bill. They'll pay for the 4 years and they take care of it. Airborne. All the way. But all joking aside, it's so many moving pieces when it comes to those finances. We're talking the student, the school, the government, the parent. That it's so many moving pieces. So the first thing I would have to do is I would get some people that specialize in this, that I can sit down with, and we can come up with the best plan that makes sense. Because there's so many moving pieces. We got high interest rates. We have, let's say, Penn State costs $60,000 a year, but you got the county college costs $2,000 a year. And then you got adjunct professors leaving Penn State to go to there to do the adjunct time and then go be a professor back there. So what's the difference in cost? Why does Penn State cost $50,000 more than another school when they're getting the same exact education? These are things that we have to why. Why is it this way? Does it really need to cost much? How is it that a kid could pay $4,000 for the year and this kid pays $60,000 a year, but they're getting the same education? How does that make sense? Where did we go wrong? We got to start breaking these things down step by step by step to get to the real problem so we can have a real solution and not just talk about it. Because this can't just be talking points. This has to be actually something that is broken down, figuring out what the actual problem is, and then coming up with an actual solution. Because I think the problem is the university. I think it's the schools. Because there's no way you got county college charging $4 to $6 grand a year, but Penn State start charging 60. How does that make sense? Something's wrong. It's the same education. It's nothing different. So that's why we got to figure out the problem so we could come up with a real solution. And that's how I would do it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Bob?
Let me get granular, okay? You hit the nail on the head. These people are coming out of college with a mortgage, but they don't have a house. Number one problem. Harvard, I believe, has an endowment now of about $60 billion with a B, okay? Think about it. They pay no taxes on it. They don't pay real estate taxes. They're in the business of soliciting funds. You know what they are? The Harvard Corporation. In my opinion, it's a hedge fund. And the nexus, they have a little connection to this legacy business called college, so they get a tax break. You're going to do that? Eliminate tax breaks, number one. Any endowment over $1 billion is fully taxable. And Harvard and Elizabeth Warren, maybe we should tax those endowments and put it right back into our economy because they don't deserve that money. And you're wrong. It's $100,000 a year to go to those colleges, not 60. That's number two. I had alluded to before about FAFSA. When you apply for financial aid, you're adults. You know, a 12-year-old can decide to have his genitals cut off, but he's not old enough to be off his parents' tax return. That also has to be eliminated. And you made one other mistake. You said tuitions go up and then the college aid go. You have it backwards. The tuitions will rise to the amount of financial aid that's available to them. You're right. The government has to facilitate education but not pay for it. It has to be risk and market based. Go to the bank, and you know what? You want to do something like I did medicine? Maybe it has a better rate of return than gender studies. Okay.
Yeah.
So don't do that and complain you don't have a job. Okay. I went to public college. I went 3 buses to Queens. I went to Queens College. I got a great cut degree there in chemistry. I went to Brooklyn to medical school. Back in the day, I'll tell you, I paid $400 something tuition when then they were paying $10,000 to go to fancy schools. Cory Booker, he went to Stanford. He's an elitist. If you want somebody who's an elitist, vote for Cory Booker. If you want somebody who's like part of the proletariat, that's me. I didn't go Spartacus. Okay, that's a good analogy. I got into several medical schools. I went to the cheapest one in Brooklyn as a New York State resident at that time. It was easy for me. I had great friends. I learned a lot. I did very well. I worked for the government for 9 years afterwards. He went to Yale Law School. And after that, what did he do? He became a Rhodes Scholar, a Cecil Rhodes Scholar. Do you know who Cecil Rhodes was? I didn't know what the hell a Rhodes Scholarship was when I went to college. It didn't exist in my world. College is about education. These fully tenured professors, you know how much they work? 6 hours a week, 30 weeks a year, and they bitch and moan about how hard they're working. They have their teaching assistants doing all the work and grading for them. That's got to stop. It has to be market based, and the government has to stop being a baby and coddling them. Your question is unbelievably good, and that's the granular answer.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jack, for the question. Next up, we have Sarah Razzie. She's a Republican Freehold Borough Town Council candidate for Freehold. So come on up.
Okay, so my name's Sarah Razi. I'm running in Freehold Borough for Town Council. That's a Democrat town. So I just have a quick question about foreclosures. As you know, New Jersey is one of the leading states in foreclosures. So Trenton currently has the highest foreclosure rate among major US cities, and New Jersey ranks among the top states for foreclosure activity. What specific federal legislation or funding would you prioritize to help at-risk homeowners in high-impact counties like Mercer, Cumberland, Salem, and Atlantic to avoid foreclosure? And what kind of deregulatory policy would you introduce in the Senate to combat foreclosure activity in order to make housing affordable nationwide?
I believe you were up first on this one. I'm going on this for now.
All right, that was a lot. A lot of. I'm trying to figure out which portion of it that I'm gonna get to. But you said that houses are being foreclosed on in Trenton. How do we make it more affordable nationally? And what was the other portion?
And what policy would you
Create
in the Senate to make housing affordable nationwide?
to make housing affordable nationwide. So right now, what they're currently trying to do is they're trying to push people out so that they can create affordable housing. That's what's happening. They're trying to make New Jersey a complete Democratic stronghold. So they're making things more expensive so people can afford them and they can start building affordable housing. Just here to let you know, affordable housing is a trap. I grew up in low income homes that people can actually purchase and build equity. For example, in Medford, right? Right now in Medford, they have homes that are affordable homes. Somebody can purchase a home for $250,000. Let's say they live there for 30 years. After they live there for 30 years, they can sell the home. But you cannot sell the home for more than you bought it for. But guess what? If you paid off that mortgage, now you have that money to have the ability to purchase a new home. And then the next person that comes in that wants to buy a home, which is the next generation behind us right now, that will not have the ability to buy a home if we keep going this route, they can buy that home and purchase that home. So these are some of the things that I think we have to implement. Not affordable housing, it has to be affordable homes. And when it comes to being in Trenton, we need to make these places more affordable because they're trying to push these people out. They're trying to push them out completely so that no one in New Jersey can afford a home anymore. Think about it. Somebody in North Jersey told me a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, he pays 25 or 26,000 a year in property tax. What are we doing here? That's what's making things unaffordable. It's the taxes. When you have taxes at 12 to 15,000 and you're on a fixed income, let's say you're retired and you're on a fixed income, but your property tax goes up every year, how are you able to afford that? So these are the issues that we have is they'll pay off the home, but now you're looking at a $15,000 a year property tax bill that you have to pay on a fixed income. These are the things that we have to put a stop to because they keep charging, taking, and never giving nothing in return. And that's what we have to put a stop to. Okay?
Thank you. All right, Dr. Bob.
So your question really segues into the previous question. Affordability And how do we get into these problems in the first place? So foreclosure is really an instrument when a bank is not getting paid back its loan. The problem now is we've diminished the underwriting standards that people now can buy homes that they really can't afford. And it doesn't take much, a medical problem, some personal thing, a temporary job loss or whatever, and now you can't pay that off. When I was growing up, people saved years to get a 20% down payment. That was the bank's cushion. So we just like you can't let people go into $100,000 debt a year in college, you can't let people go and be stretched with a mortgage. That's the bank's money, which ultimately is guaranteed by the FDIC. You don't let people get into a position they can't get out of. That's the first thing, because otherwise it's the bank's problem. Next thing is, as the board said, absolutely. If you're on you have a COLA of 2% a year from Social Security and you're at that age, and now your expenses are rising 5% a year, 6%. Oh, and the answer is because we need it for this, for that. I'm going to tell you something. The government's like heroin addicts. No matter how much drug you give them, it'll never be enough. Stop it at the beginning. Okay? If someone is in a position that they're going to be foreclosed, probably this, you have to look, why did they get the loan in the first place? Yeah, the mortgage broker made money, the bank made money up front. It's all interest. Now, unfortunately, there are some cases, for whatever reason, where some people can't keep it, and those are tragic. I agree. And sometimes people can't live in their houses, but I don't think we can make policy for the exceptionally few cases. Make it so that people don't go into foreclosure in the first place. And guess what? If you have less mortgage money around, prices will not be as high. It'll be more affordable. Just like if college loans aren't available on a crazy level, tuitions will get better because it will rise to fit the maximum amount of money that's being granted by these agents, whether it's Fannie Mae or Sallie Mae in the educational business. And who's ultimately on the hook for it? Tell me, everybody. You are, the taxpayer. So that's how you deal with foreclosures.
Thank you very much. And Justin, they all had 2 minutes, so you have 2 minutes on this one.
Okay. Roger, thank you for the question, Sarah, and best of luck to you with your race. We need Republicans to win at every level of government, municipal, county, state, certainly federal. So best of luck to your race. Okay. What do we do? I think the best and most potent home ownership program that we have, that we can legislate for, okay, is being gainfully employed with low interest rates. That is the best housing policy that we have. Now, I understand life is life. I was raised by a single mother in the late 70s with a high school education. We had a struggle to get, I know what economic struggle is. And home ownership is so important that I put it in my Senate pledge this year. Because if we do not own our own homes, we are not economically free. No exaggeration. I mean, economic freedom starts with your home, in my opinion. It's a way to build wealth and create, and of course, have home ownership and the way you raise a family. Uh, we need to grow our economy, okay? 3 to 4% a year, not just a blip here and a blip there, a long-term policy, okay? And we're doing that now. The Republican Party is actually doing that now. We're dumb enough, we're not taking enough credit for it, but we need to. Interest rates were very high under Joe Biden. They were 8%. They're now down to 6% and falling. That means home ownership is more attainable to our young working families. We have trillions of dollars that we're pouring into our country now, okay, through foreign direct investment because of the Trump administration, because of his business acumen. Now, what does that mean? It means a vibrant middle class, low interest rates, and a Republican Party that's unequivocal in stating that we're worried about the next generation of Americans, not the next election. Gainful employment, low interest rates. Okay, what do we do with foreclosures? There's probably a couple things we can do to lean on banks. The SEC has a lot of say on what banks do with their policy. A lot. Ask Joe Biden, because they were always trying to lean on the SEC and regulations to get DEI through on banks. So banks know what a regulatory gun to their head is. I think what we should probably do is craft something where it's not an immediate rug pulling event out of the homeowners underneath their feet. If there is an issue financially, like with student loans, okay, we all have student loans. You can get a forbearance. You can get an emergency forbearance. You can get a deferment. You can get an income-based driven plan. We should probably apply that into cases where we need to keep people in their own homes rather than have foreclosures go through the roof. The other reason, okay, why New Jersey may have a lot of foreclosures is because Democrats have run our state straight for 25 straight years, and we do not have the right economy in this state. We are not, do we have a private sector job growth in this state? I haven't seen any, and I've lived here since 1976. Yeah, absolutely. It was, that's a ringing indictment of the economy of the state of New Jersey. Why do we have so many foreclosures? Well, Johnson and Johnson just left, I think, Warren, Hunterdon County, and they went down to North Carolina. You think somebody in Trenton would get the idea that an 11% income tax rate doesn't look too good when a company can go to another state where it's 2%? So we need to elect different people in Trenton, and we'll do that in 2027. But that's what I think we need to do at the federal level, and it's certainly a big chunk can come from the state as to who we elect. Okay, so best of luck to your race again, and home ownership is critically important to the
Okay.
survival of this country. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have Mr. Raffi. He worked with Scott Presler during the Jack Citarelli campaign. I give it up to Raffi.
So, can you name a specific issue where you're willing to break with your party leadership to achieve a compromise that benefits our state and country?
All right, who's up first? I think it's the doctor. Where is it? It's the doctor. I think is up first for this one.
There's two levels of answering your question. One is what I call on the fundamental level, and then you could talk about on the minor or the nuanced level. On the nuanced level, there's a lot of things. These two questions we just talked about now. How do you alter foreclosure rates? How do you deal with student loan rates? How do you deal with the student debt crisis? So on the big stuff, I'm in agreement. Now, on a lot of little things, I have my own personal thoughts. I've mentioned some of them now, just about student debt and about foreclosures, and that's really breaking, I think, with what some of the mainstream issues are in this state. Uh, Mr. Murphy hit the nail on the head. You know, people are leaving. We got to stop it. Why? United Van Lines, 8 years in a row. 8 years in a row, New Jersey has the largest outmigration of any state of taxpayers. Why? I mean, well, is it because they're stupid? Is it because of the weather? Or could it be something to do with the economic environment in which we live in? So that's where we need to really make the changes on the ground, you know, not on, you know, the big things, you know, abortion, you know, at 40 weeks versus 30 weeks versus not at all. Uh, we need to have issues that are affecting human beings. I see this every day in my work. People hurting, people in pain. I see sometimes the craziness, the lunacy of the quote, the system. And that's how we fix things. But to say, oh, I'm going to be different on debt service or the deficit, or what we're going to do with Social Security, or just go to universal payer, or raise taxes on Social Security, these aren't answers. These are these. The question is really, how do you do it on the level where you can deliver? I can give platitudes, all right? But if I can talk about how I'll do, I have to deliver something. This is what I do every day in the operating room. People don't want to hear stories. They want to hear the operations of success and the patients better. In my world, I help people breathe, and I just want to breathe. I want to breathe fresh air into the state. I love it. I'm here for it. And Cory Booker has been stagnating it.
Thank you. Justin?
Rafi, thank you for the question. It's a good one because it's one, should one of us make it to Washington, we'll probably have to face. Uh, all right, would have to probably think right now of a hypothetical of what the Republican Party is pursuing and whether or not I would break from them to either oppose it or are they breaking from me? Am I breaking from them or are they breaking from me? If you look at my Senate pledge, I've got the 11 bullet points of really bedrock philosophical underpinning of me, and I'm not moving on them. Okay, now that doesn't mean I'll beat my head against the wall and can't compromise. I'll give you an example. My centerpiece really is the flat tax. I just want the IRS to go away. And the 70,000 page Internal Revenue Code. They are a disaster. They have powers they should not have. They've been buying military grade weapons. I don't know why. They have power of civil forfeiture. So my big thing is is to have the IRS abolished and the Internal Revenue Code abolished, and we have a flat tax that promotes growth, family growth, and all those good things. And I have a 10% income tax rate. Now, to get it through, hypothetically, through Washington, to get it through a chamber, to get it through a committee if I'm a senator, and they say, Justin, we'll do this for you, but we got to have a 12% rate. I can break from my 10% pledge and say, I'll go for 12. It still gets me what I want. But if we're going to go above 10% for a flat tax, you know what I want for the American people? When the time you turn 18 to the time you retire, you get 2 years of your life to declare no income tax paid to the federal government at your choice. That's what I would do to keep on track of getting the tax relief, the simplified system. So I can dance a little bit. Actually, I can't dance. I'm just saying I can. Yeah, you don't want to see me dance, really. But I can look. I studied for my master's in Villanova, and one of the things I learned from there with the American founding is how much compromise was part of our constitutional convention, and that's not lost on me. But no, I'm not going to be pulled away from a philosophical root of mine. I won't. I won't do it. I'll stand up to the heat. As far as the Republican Party, well, we've got a lot of different ideas with the Republican Party. We got libertarians, we got conservatives, we got moderates. I'm a conservative. I'm a Reagan Republican. So I would look certainly to see. But just to give you an example, is I can we can ditch a little bit, but let's make
Fair
sure
enough.
we're still getting where our objective is. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tabor?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a man that do like to negotiate, right? I like to negotiate. But when I'm looking at the Democratic Party and I'm sitting here and I was really trying to think as they were speaking, what policy or law will I break the line for? I can't think of a single thing that the Democratic Party is doing right now that I would say, you know what, I'm gonna break the line for that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't think of a single thing that they're doing right now that would make me cross over and say I'm gonna vote with them. Uh, they're losing their minds. Every single thing that they're coming up with, I'm trying to make sense of it. The only thing I even hear them talking about is Trump. They're not even trying to make a policy. They're not even trying to push laws. They're not trying to do anything but impeach Trump. So with this current Democratic Party, I don't think I could cross the line with them because it's going to be very difficult because anything I cross the line with them, it's going to hinder the American people. So that's what makes it very difficult for me to do something like that. But if they come with something that's logical, that's actually helping the people, would I? Yes, of course. I would if they are actually coming with something logical. But as it stands right now, absolutely not. So I'm
Thank,
just gonna go on and say that.
thank you. All right. Did we get her? Dr. Rob? Did you work? Yep. Okay, perfect. All right. We're moving. All right. So we are now on to a social media question that's given by Joe Miller, who is the Young Republicans treasurer. So, Joe?
Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. Not a hardball question or anything. Just want to know how are you guys planning on using social media just to reach younger voters and to beat Booker?
Yes.
So first thing I'm seeing with these young kids with the reach the young crowd right now. When I was in Elizabeth, they got me doing TikToks. They got me doing all this. I never thought I'd be that guy where it's like they're saying, like, hey old man, come here, do the TikTok with us, do this step, do this dance. But right now I know a lot of the young crowd is on TikTok. And what you have to do, what I've learned with the young crowd, because I run a nonprofit organization with youth. So what I've learned is that they're not being educated. They don't know what's going on. The only thing they do is repeat what they hear on the news. They hear Trump's bad, they repeat it. Trump's bad. How do I know? I saw it on the news, and everything that the news says is true. That's what they believe until you start educating them. So I think it's important that through social media or just going through the community, you got to start educating the youth. These guys are very impressionable. So I was at the gym I want to say yesterday, and one of the young guys said, "Hey, we saw that you're running for U.S. Senate. Are you a Republican or a Democrat?" I said, "I'm a Republican," and they said, "Oh." They said, "Oh, I hear Republicans are bad," and I started speaking to them. So what I said to them was, "Do you believe in affordability?" And they said, "Yeah." I said, "Can you name me one blue state that's affordable to live in?" They said, "Oh no, I can't name a blue state that's affordable to live in." I said, "So which party is bad? The party that's presenting to you affordability, but nothing's ever affordable, ever. Like every year it gets more expensive. Every year they say, 'Hey guys, we're pushing for affordability because the Republican Party's not, but we're gonna raise your taxes. Oh, and the tolls. Oh, and the schools. We're gonna raise everything. Sorry, but we're gonna keep it affordable though.'" And when you start pushing the message to them that we have versus the Democratic Party, and let them know that the Democratic Party is are the actual ones that's making things less and less affordable as you go on each year. You got to tell these kids the truth. Why they still are impressionable. Why you can have them use logic and reason. Because once they get past that point where they're locked in as a Democrat, it's going to be almost impossible. So it's important. I'm glad you asked that we get to it now.
They're not doing critical thinking, which is exactly what you mentioned. Even like in school, they just do repetition.
That's it.
And some schools push someone to go into the workforce, but they never train them to question it.
Right.
Why this or why not that?
Right.
Choices. And they're just following your 100% correct. That's exactly right.
But before I sit down, just to let you know, the older kids that have graduated and left my program, they are Republican.
Thank you for that, Rich. Dr. Lebovics. Is that right? Hopefully.
So to answer your question to the point, yes, have a campaign manager, and we have videos and targets and points that are going to hit Instagram. What's the other one? Facebook, and I assume TikTok, but it's all right. Thank you for that. Thank you for that tidbit. I'm going to assume, because I also learned sometimes as a doctor, as a surgeon, you have to know how to delegate. I'm very good at that, because at the end of the day, it's the results that count. But just to to follow up on what Mr. Tabor is saying, I happen to think your generation is screwed on a lot of levels, and I'm going to tell you why. I walk and drive in Manhattan. People walking into the street like this. You guys are glued to these machines like your mother, like you, and it's got to stop. The lady here was alluding to critical thinking. I'm just saying, not even just your own thinking. All right. Don't believe what you see on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, even half of the so-called mainstream media. There's always slants, there's biases to it, there's how it's presented. All right. You need your own education. Look for yourself, go to source material, and make your own educated decision. It's the best thing for you as a person and the best thing for our country. If we stop worrying about living on these machines and is AI going to do it for us? No, AI is going to take it over. And just to talk about that, it's out of the box. We can't stop AI. We're going to have to work with it, the artificial intelligence, but we need some type of guardrails. We have to partner with people so that the American companies are going to be the strongest from an American perspective, and ultimately that these companies are going to do it in a way that's beneficial. Because I don't know what the future brings, but read the book 1984.
And Justin.
Mr. Miller, thank you for the question. And I know how active you are politically, so thank you for that too, because it's good to see young people with the energy and passion to jump in the political arena. We need that. We need you, and thank you. Okay, what are we doing? What does Murphy for Senate do to reach across social media platforms? Well, we have a Truth Social account, Instagram account, an X account, a YouTube channel, a web page, and a Facebook page. And we're rocking, let me tell you. I just had a new suite of videos made on issue videos on YouTube. Please check them out because they are really, really good, starring me. I love it because I get a chance to develop a thought and a narrative because I think it's critically important that the Republican Party from this point, stop it, Ann. I think it's critically important that the Republican Party from this point forward sophisticate and develop a narrative and a dialogue and develop a conversation with people because if we don't do that, we're not going to inspire people to vote for us. In New Jersey, we have to have ideas, platforms, energy, passion, confidence. That's how we win. And we have to convey that to people. Social media is a one big way to do that, especially with our young people. Democrats run around and have one thing to say. We hate Donald Trump. That's their platform. And unfortunately, being so outnumbered in the state, that works for them. It worked for Mikey Sherrill. So we have to take advantage of all media platforms because in politics, you have social media, you have handshaking of events like this, you have TV, radio, face to face, door knocking, and they all have a diminishing return. At some point, you're not going to get a benefit from it anymore. So we need all the platforms. We need all the town halls we can get in front of as candidates, and there's much we have to do. But we use everything. I don't have chat PT. That's why I don't have it because I don't even know what the hell it is. I can't even say it. But we're pretty active. We've got. I'll tell you a quick story. Was up to between. I ran in 2024 in the Senate primary. I was up to like over 5,000 people on my Facebook page. And then in November of 24, I'm getting ready to do a blast to invite people to my kickoff event for this run, and Facebook took my page down. Yeah, they're out there, and that happened more than once. So the content is a problem. So I have a big problem with big tech. If I get to Washington, Mark Zuckerberg better not even think about coming east of the Mississippi.
Thank you. And also, too, we are live streaming this event because it is important and we will be putting it all over social media for thousands to see. And, hopefully more people will be able to hear you guys. Is Lisa here from Brigantine? Oh, wonderful. There she is. I did not see you over there. Okay. So Lisa, who's coming up to ask the next question, just won an award from the Women's Federation of Atlantic County for fighting offshore winds, but she's actually here today to ask a question about mental health.
Thank you. There's a mental health crisis in New Jersey and throughout the United States. We often hear there needs to be reform when a tragedy occurs and someone with mental illness that they have mental illness, and then no reforms ever take place. The subject is very personal to me. My dad, my grandfather, and two of my cousins were diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I also have a niece with severe anxiety. I am tired with lip service without any reform. And I fought offshore wind. One person can make a difference, and I will be making a difference with this. And then don't mess with Jersey.
Thank you. Who's up first? I already forget. Is it you, Rich? No, it's the doctor. Perfect. Person first. Kick it off.
So that's the first medical question. So I better be good at this one. Mental health is clearly a part of the spectrum of human existence and of medicine. I'm going to tell you some of the facts of life. The way medicine's been corporatized in this country, and particularly in this state, mental health is ignored for a lot of reasons. Number one, it's a very low overhead to run it. So you could be a psychiatrist in your own house, televisits now, and everybody's out of network. You can't afford to say, yeah, if you want to pay $500 an hour, you can see a psychiatrist tomorrow. If you want to find somebody in your insurance plan, yeah, wait 16 months if you're lucky. That's the first problem. I call it access to mental health. There are many dimensions to it. You have PTSD, you have bipolar, you have anxiety disorders, you have schizophrenia, psychoses, neuroses. Like I can mention them all up. And a lot of it, unfortunately, has become politicized. The most crazy one, in my view, is this gender dysphoria thing. It's the only mental illness I know of that's treated with hormones and changing the body instead of the brain and mutilating the person surgically rather than dealing with the problem. You don't treat bipolar that way. We gave up on frontal lobotomies, I think, about 60 or 70 years ago. So that's got to stop. And I'm going to find ways to make it illegal or cut off all the funding to the state or any state where they do that. Now, to go back to your question, you need people who are going to be engaged. We need psychiatrists. We need them, psychologists. We need them to be involved. We need them to get granular. They need access to this. What they do is in medicine now is we get extenders, they call them, advanced nurse practitioners, physician assistants. Yeah, so before you know it, you're going to go to the medical assistant who'll get you to the APN. You need doctors. And you need the American Medical Association, by the way, which I am not a fan of. They're part of the problem. They're reactive, they're not proactive. But we need people who can actually do that and find the tax incentives for them to do it, such that people who can't afford $500 an hour can get mental health needs now, not next week, not next month. It's an access problem. It's not a medical problem.
Thank you. Justin, you are up.
Thank you for your question. I was at that event where you were awarded, so congratulations to that again. And I stand beside you 100%. No windmills off the coast of New Jersey ever. Thank you, ever. Um, your question, it's difficult because I think the sober assessment is right now we don't really as a society know what to do. And I think that we demonstrate that often. Like we just don't have, there's a lot of different reasons why people may experience the grievance of a mental illness. One of the things that comes to my mind is that if there is an insurance company that, if it's covered through insurance, you hear this debate often about whether or not an insurance company should pick up costs for mental health or offer programs for mental health. But then what follows? How do we pay for it? And then it becomes a monetary issue. Here's how I think we can pay for better mental health care in this country. And this is just recent. All right. We have now identified probably over $100 billion of waste, criminality, fraud, and abuse in our social and healthcare programs in this country. And that it's there. Okay, 10 billion in Minnesota, the tip of the iceberg. California and other states, thankfully, the Trump administration has raised this to cabinet level, but the vice president in charge. Okay, I think every dime we recover, okay, every dime we recover from this, and it's criminality. It's not a government agency operating inefficiently like they always do. This is theft. Okay, I'm not picking on one group. It's theft. It's widespread. Is there a problem in the Somali community? Yes, there is. Is there a problem with Russian mafia and Russian organized crime with Medicare fraud? You better damn well believe it. Medicare alone has 60 to 100 billion dollars of identifiable fraud every year. Now that can cover mental health care expenses and all health care expenses. So what I would do specifically, as specific as we can get, every dime that's recovered from these programs, we should increase money for whistleblowers for one thing. People start blowing whistles, money would start flowing. That money can be closed loop, not thrown into Washington to be spent or wasted. It can be right back into the same healthcare plan or program that it was taken from illegally, stolen from, and it can be used to expand those services that we need. That's what I think is specifically right now. But this is a troubling issue because it does, look, I think we all know someone or some family that has affected by this, and these are like real horror stories. It's horrible. So we pray for those people, but we can get our house in better order so that our existing institutions can do a better job. And as far as if they're violent and homeless, folks, they got to be off the street. They have to be off the street. We cannot put people at risk. That's a quality of life issue, and the number one job of government is to protect its citizens. Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
question.
Thank you. And Rich.
Once again, congratulations on that. Keeping those windmills off of our shores. I'm so proud of you guys for that. Very proud. Now, when it comes to mental health is something very important, like that we have to focus on. I've seen it in the military, with PTSD and guys coming back from the war. And mental health is a serious thing that a lot of us, we don't pay attention to. We try to brush it off. Oh, he's something wrong or whatever. But it's something that we really have to focus on. Like in policing, I noticed when we would go to a call, if that person was suffering with a mental health issue, we would literally call a doctor to the scene. We would call a doctor to the scene and let them handle it because we weren't equipped for that. We weren't equipped for that at all. Especially, we don't want to go on to somebody or do something to someone that is suffering from mental health Instead, we're thinking that they're attacking or doing something on purpose, but they're actually suffering with a mental health issue. So we wanted to make sure that we handled those things accordingly. But I am interested in knowing, is there something specific that you feel as though should be handled with mental health?
Really, the middle class is coming out in mental health. If you're wealthy, you can pay for cash. If you're below poverty level, you get that for free. The middle class can't afford mental health. I have a $2,500 deductible. My mental health would not kick in until that was met. So it's disgusting that people are suffering from mental health, and also you can pay for your medicine. Mental health medicine, most of it has been out forever, and it's still $800 versus something that should be only a few dollars. This should be a no-brainer.
So that would take us to invest a lot of time and energy to make sure we can balance it out for the middle class. Because you make a great point. The rich are taken care of, and when it comes to people at poverty level, they are. Because I was at that level before growing up. I was at the poverty level. So Medicaid, we had Medicaid, and everything would be taken care of. But the big question is, how do we take care of that for the middle class? So you have different things that I hear on, like, let's say on Christian networks on Star 99.1, where they have share programs, share medical programs, different things like that. So, sorry. So what we would have to do is we would have to honestly take a step back and see how we can make it more affordable for the middle class so that they can get the treatment that they actually need and that they're not being exiled on a situation that we actually need to take care of. So that's what's important, is to make sure that it's affordable for them to have the ability to pay for that mental health. And that's the issue I would attack right away, especially hearing the specific things that you would want me to take care of.
Thank you. So we are down to our final two questions. For this next question, candidates, you will have a minute to answer. And then for the final question, you'll have 30 seconds to answer, which shouldn't take you long to answer anyway. Our next person coming up is Mike Evidensky, and he is the council candidate for South Brunswick. So let's give it up for Mike.
Hi, guys. Thanks for doing this today. It's been very informative. My question is this: when you win and go to Washington in November, what would your top three priorities be, and how would you realistically get these things done in your first year?
Thank you. So we're up with Justin for this one. Remember, guys, you have 1 minute.
Be really fast. Michael, thank you for throwing your hat in the ring for a local race, and good luck again. We have to win up and down the line. Priorities for me. I'll point to my Senate pledge. Number one, let's abolish the IRS and have a flat tax. That would change people's lives, structurally change their economic lives in America. That's the most important thing we could do. It would change our business climate overnight. We would create more wealth for our middle class and for our working poor. It would be a pile of gold for all of us. I'm convinced of it. What I do. Donald Trump has brought finally now to a national discussion the issue of a new system of taxation. So I'd have to jump on that, find a caucus in the Senate that would promote it and push it, and you go to work, roll up your sleeves, start butting heads, and try to get it done. Second will be parental rights. They are the civil rights issues of our time, along with medical freedom. Parental rights are just so critical. And the third would be home ownership, because without home ownership, we're not economically free. And that's economic growth, low interest rates, gainfully employed, rising wages under Donald Trump, right? Had declining under Joe Biden, but we're doing the right things to get people in their own homes, not burdened with a 70,000 page internal revenue code, and parental rights acknowledged as fundamental rights and enshrined throughout our culture.
It's like 101. Good job. Perfect. All right. And we have Rich.
So I believe I would probably, on my first issue, I would probably have to run a poll to check to see what the people of New Jersey would want, and that would be this. Right now, I see that we have a bunch of people coming into our country and going straight into our politics. So I would try to create a law that says you have to be born here to enter into politics anywhere in the U.S. Because now people are coming in with failed ideologies, right, and taking down our country. They're taking it down step by step, piece by piece. And when I was overseas, that's what they said that they would do. And now they're implementing it. And it's happening in real time. So that's one of the things that I would do first and foremost. Parental rights is very important. Like I said, I have 7 children. Have 7 children. I will have to make sure that these children are protected because the government is trying to take control over our children completely. They're trying to make the rules. They're trying to make the decisions. They're trying to make all choices. And then the next one would be to protect our constitutional rights, to make sure New Jersey laws align with our Constitution. Because right now, the laws that I'm fighting, they don't align with our U.S. Constitution right now. And in New Jersey, we have to understand the Constitution is the law of the land. And your New Jersey state laws must align with the Constitution. So that's what I will make sure that is going on.
Thank you very much.
So I have many items on my agenda. I call it my primary agenda, secondary, and tertiary. But to answer your question, big 3. Number 1, I call it educational equality. We have a problem in this country of kids spending more and more money in real terms and nominal terms. The kids are coming out stupider than ever before. It's really that simple. Even though everyone will say New Jersey has the best, yeah, we're the best in the country. As we keep going down, everyone's going down faster. Number 1. Second priority, we need solvency as a social security system. We have to protect the elderly, and that's going to require some consensus on both sides. We're going to have to make it happen by having all the stakeholders involved: old, young, employers, people. Tax touch, raise retirement ages. It's unpopular. We have to do that. The last thing is healthcare. I live it and breathe it every day. I'm going to give it to you all in 1 second, in 1 minute rather. People smarter than me have been working on it for 30 years. They haven't figured it out. I'm going to tell you what the problem is and how we have to approach it. There are 3 circles, in my view, of healthcare problems: quantity, quality, cost. You can have any 2 of the 3 you want. I can deliver the best of anything, but we need all 3: quantity, quality, cost. And the way to deal with this is not to lose what we have now and triangulate, making incremental improvements in all of the above. I work in a hospital where half my time is administrative. And the one thing I know is that very few doctors and administrators, I know how the money flows on all the levels. Okay? So that's what we need to do it. Access, which is quantity, we need quality, and cost has to be reasonable. And I could talk about that stuff for hours on afterwards.
Thank you. And just real quick before we get to the final question, I just want to say thank you everybody for coming here today. It means so much. If you haven't joined our group yet, there is a little code thing right there, QR code. Big thank you to the setup team, everybody here, Steve Diorio from the Steve Diorio Show, and that is Cruising 92.1 and FM and VLT. And thank you to Angela for helping just promote the event on social media. And a big thank you to Damon Galdo with the American Pulse Network. Definitely follow Damon. Thank you for streaming everything. It really means a lot to us. And it will be available on our group page, so you can share it wherever, rewatch it if you want to look at the questions again, and also on Damon's site as well. And then just lastly, we're going to get to the final question, and then I'll give you guys a closing statement. If there's anything that you didn't get to say, I'll let you guys say. And I'm just going to throw this in here too. Nope, no, I already did. Okay, perfect. So lastly, we're going to get to is Kathy Abadansky, so Mike's lovely wife, with the final question. And again, less than 30 seconds to respond to this.
Hi, everyone. I'm the South Run Republican chair, too. So Mike had a choice to either be a poll worker or run for office. So just want to say. So first of all, I want to thank you very much for coming out and running. Anyone that steps up, I give them a lot of credit. I just want to say that. You gave the Republicans a lot of choices. We have 4 candidates. But what happens is Republicans will rally behind a candidate. And when their candidate doesn't win in the primary, then sometimes they're not likely to support the person that won. So my question to you is, if you win the primary, how will you unite the Republican Party? But more importantly, if you don't win, will you support the winner and come out publicly and tell your supporters to also support the winner? Because we need to rally together and support each other.
Thank you. So we're just gonna go in order on this one. So it'll be the doctor, Rich, and then Justin.
So the answer is yes. I will support anybody who wins this primary. I can't be any clearer. These are great guys. I met them. They're all good. The question ultimately is who's going to beat Cory Booker, because that's the goal here. I hope that answers your question in 8 seconds.
Thank you. That was amazing. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Absolutely, absolutely. I'm coming out publicly saying that I would.
This will be posted too on a few media sites as well. So we have some quotes too that the candidates had said today, especially a doctor with the heroin comment. We love that one. So you will be, we will be. There will be some articles. But Shore News Network is the one that's going to be covering as well.
So when it comes to supporting the candidates, I will support these candidates. Yes, I will. I will support them, and I will push them, and that's how it will go for me. Now, like he said, you need somebody to beat Cory Booker. We got 1.5 million Republicans, 2.5 million Democrats. You need to get that Democrat vote. And if you can't get that vote, you can't win. And if you're looking for us to get a win this year, I'm the guy that's going to get that vote. So make sure you vote for me June 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you. And Justin?
Thank you, Kathy, for your question and for all the questions today. Absolutely. I always vote Republican. I always will. I will support whoever our nominee is for U.S. Senate, even if it's Alex and he's not here.
Not allowed to say his name today.
Okay. No, I will support whoever our nominee is. I will be very vociferous about trying to defeat Cory Booker, because if Democrats take back the House this year, and I know we're running in Senate, but if we have congressional candidates also too that I will support. I support our ticket, always have, always will. Uh, we're going to look at nothing but 2 years of impeaching Donald Trump and obstructing his agenda and opening up our border again, and we're not going to do that. So we will be unified. We will have a message. I believe the conservative principles that I espouse are the best way to inspire people and lead. We have to lead. We have to lead. Sometimes it's tough to lead, but we have to do that. I will vote happily for any of our candidates, and I will always support the Republican ticket. Always have, always will.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you, gentlemen. And so you guys will have about a minute closing statement. If there's anything you need to let the voters know, please go right ahead. Justin, you can start first, and we'll go the opposite way. So Rich, you're in the middle again.
All right, thank you everyone for coming. I know it's we need, one thing is people to be engaged. We need voices to be heard, and if they're home not voting, they're not heard, no engagement, it's not good for us. Rich mentioned we're outnumbered in this state by about 840,000 Democrats. We can still win though. We can still win. I believe the conservative principles are the best way to inspire people to step into our column and vote for us. Democrats across the country are hemorrhaging voters by the millions, and that's a fact. They're hemorrhaging voters, but that doesn't mean they automatically jump into the Republican column. We have to lead. We have to have the vision and the backbone and the will to fight for it. My conservative principles do. Donald Trump is giving us a great record to run on of a secure border, lower inflation, lower interest rates, lower gallon of gas despite the bump right now, and most importantly, rising wages for the American people. We need to be on offense this November. Okay, energetic and confident. Okay, if we look sour and dour, no one's going to buy into us. Okay, but we need to be on offense and make sure that we run on what the train wreck the Democrat Party has become, what our vision for the country is, because we offer that better tomorrow. Cory Booker, I will tell him on a debate stage that your hate for Donald Trump is absolutely no vision for this country that Americans can believe in and build on. But the conservative principles that we espouse as a party do offer that better tomorrow. So that's what we need to do, and we need to do it with energy and passion, just like Reagan. I'm your guy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Justin. All right, Rich, Tabor.
First and foremost, thank you all for coming out today. I really appreciate you showing up. I appreciate you having me and inviting me out. I appreciate our candidates for coming out and showing up today. Just thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But when it comes to this, U.S. Senate candidate race, we need a win this year. We need a win. Somebody has to bring our conservative values to D.C. Someone has to do it. And someone has to have the ability to make sure other candidates get to DC as well. We have to make sure we are standing together, we are fighting together, and we have a strategic plan on how to win. Because if we don't have that plan, we can't win. We have to go into the communities that Republicans never go into. We sit there and we let those votes just go by the wayside, never delivering the message. Like Justin said, we never deliver that message. We have to deliver the message to everyone. This year can't just be about Republicans. It has to be every voter in the state of New Jersey has to receive our message. We have the best message. Why aren't we delivering it? Why are we staying away from communities instead of fighting for those communities? Instead of saying, hey, we're going to earn your vote this year. Here's our policies. Here's our plans. Here's how we plan on making America better. People got to understand something. I only vote for our president for two things. These are the two things I vote on: economics and security. Those are the things that's going to bring up the country or it's going to make that country fall. If you don't focus on those economics and security, what we have to do right now, $38 trillion in debt, 38 trillion. If that keeps rising, no one is safe. No one, not a single person in our country will be safe if we don't start addressing that debt. The dollar won't be safe. Your pensions won't be safe. Your 401ks won't be safe. Nothing will be safe. You need someone that's going to go to DC and address the problems and get our country back in order. That person will be me. So help me out. Get me down.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Dr. Bob, happy anniversary, by the way. And you're up.
And thank you so much for having me and hosting this. And again, I want to acknowledge Mr. Murphy and Mr. Tabor. They're honorable, good people. I'm going to say that publicly. At the end of the day, I'm going to quote a very famous Nobel laureate, pretty smart guy. You may have heard of him. His name was Albert Einstein. And he said, it's one of my favorite quotes, what's the definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. We need to have specific, granular, on-the-ground policies. And I agree with them in principle, but how do you deliver each one, what the nuance is? That's what I'm gonna bring, I am bringing. I know what it is to innovate. We talked very briefly about college loans and how those have to be changed, foreclosures. And you want to talk about healthcare, you want to talk, I can talk for the stuff about hours, but I have very specific plans that I'm going to deliver from the Senate and use that power, the power of the purse, because at the end of the day, I know how these states are. You threaten them with a little money withholding, they will squeal and they will give in. And I'm going to do what's right, not for me, but what's right for this state and what's right for this country. I ask for your vote for our children and our grandchildren. And let's God bless these United States of America.
Thank you so much. And again, this event was sponsored by the Real Right Side of New Jersey. Please feel free to help yourself to some snacks to go. God bless. Get home safe. And Damon is actually going to close us out.
All right, I just want to say, well, obviously, thank you for you gentlemen to come out here tonight, and thank you for setting it up. It's very important, to get the information out there, and all the listeners out there who are watching on the podcast, the Jersey Shore, SURE, America's Pulse Network. I appreciate it. And I just want to say, I started something to gather most candidates together for unity. Republicans need to get together and stick together because we need to. So I know Greg and Hillary back there, we were all talking about it. We had a good conversation about it. So don't worry, we're running for Congress. So they're running for Senate. So they didn't get the bill yet. I'm charging them $10,000 each. So they're going to contribute $10,000 each to our campaign. So, but no, thank you all for coming. Thank you all listeners out there. I appreciate it. All right, guys.
Thank you all so much. Get home safe. God bless. You're all done.
Yeah, this one's for New Jersey. For every working family that's had enough. Name's Damon Galdo, and I'm just getting started. to the streets of the shore. Steel-toed boots, yeah, I know what I'm working for. Middle class hurting, every bill going up. While suits in DC say, man, just trust us. I'm a builder by trade, put my sweat in the ground. Now I'm building up hope for my hometown. Jersey's my home, blue collar sold. I don't make excuses, I get it done, that's all I know. I felt the pressure, I've lived that grind, trying to give your kids a better life. I won't forget where I came from, man, cause I'm built by work, built by hands. I'm built by working hands, fighting for working families. Not a career man who forgot what hard work means. They talk real big, but nothing ever changes. While Jersey keeps drowning in the same old pain, I'll build a future strong for our kids in this land. I'm Damon Galdo, built by working hands. Yeah. Donald Norcross been there year after year. Same old story while the struggle's still here. Claims he's for workers, but look around town. Rent sky high, grocery bills breaking us down. Where's the relief for the middle class grind? Cause all I see is folks falling behind. I ain't got decades in some DC chair. I got skin in the game, cause my family's here. Time, they had their shot. And tell me, Jersey, what have we got? It's time for change, time for a stand, time for a work, and not another plan. Not another plan, not another plan. Yeah! I'm built by working hands, fighting for working families. Not some suit who sold you fantasy. We waited long enough, it's time to demand a future built by honest hands. For Jersey strong, for this great land. I'm Damon Galdo, built by working hands. Yeah, this ain't left, this ain't right. This is fight for what's right. For every mom working double shifts, every dad praying they don't miss. I'm running for my kids, running for yours, for a state that deserves so much more. Not talk, that's the plan. Let's build it back with a working man. For our children's dreams, for a better way. I'll fight for Jersey every day. No empty words, I'll take the stand. Cause I'm built by work, built by, yeah.